cumulative percentage of candidates that score less than 200, and that is where the issue is coming from. But let me make this abundantly clear, that our examination is not a fail-pass examination. If today we conduct the examination and the highest scorer score 5 over 400, we will still conduct admission. Even if it is 1 over 400, we will still conduct admission. Of course, we're not going to say because the highest scorer got 1 over 400, so there won't be admission this year. No. The exercise is a selection exercise. Our examination is a selection examination. What qualifies a candidate for admission is his O level. The O level that is defined by the Arusha Convention, which later became the Addis Ababa Convention. That is what is globally recognized. Examination became a vehicle because we don't have a non-established yardstick that we can select this candidate. If tomorrow, by way of research, by way of knowledge, we have an acceptable yardstick that we can select this candidate without any rancor, without any strife and all those things, examination will no longer be there. When the first generation universities, 6 of them came together to form JAMB, and government has said their idea was to have a body that can coordinate the exercise of admission for them. And that explains why, even when you look at our name, it is called Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. Examination is not there. It was not a mistake. It was not an accident. If examination was necessary, it would have been included in the name. Examination only became a vehicle because there is no known procedure that you can conduct admission that candidate, everybody will feel that, yes, I'm not cheated.
But what is striking from some of the things you said now would be the fact that you said the figures now are even better. In fact, you said better than what it was in 2022 or even 2021. So implying that, Nigerians had not had proper knowledge of what it was like in those years. The question for many people is why perhaps JAMB would now put this in percentage or give a more detailed report about, on the performance of candidates this year as against what it was in 2021, 2022, and even 2023. Is there an explanation for that?
Well, you see, knowledge is dynamic. And you can decide to make, if you want to do a presentation, you can make it in different formats. You can decide to make it in statistical format. You can decide to look at even the statistics, you look at it cumulatively, you look at it on the basis of individual issues and stuff like that. So this year we just, in our own characteristic of always giving Nigerian things in diverse ways, we decided to just give a cumulative percentage on all those things. But what I wanted to take home is that our examination is not a fail-pass examination. Why do I say that? Today you have a candidate who has scored 315, and that candidate may likely not even be admitted. Because if you don't have 5 O-level credit, including English and mathematics, even if you score 400 over 400, you will not be admitted, because the O-level is what qualifies you. So you will find where a candidate will score 315. For instance, if a candidate wants to read medicine in University of Ibadan, and he scored 315, on the order of ranking in University of Ibadan, that candidate may be number 300. It may be number 300, and University of Ibadan may just be admitted 200 candidates. So such a candidate may not even be admitted. But you find a candidate who has scored 260, who wants to go to read medicine in another university, maybe University of somewhere, a new university somewhere, either in far north, I don't want to mention them, and with due respect, it's not to diminish that particular university. That candidate might be admitted. So it's a function of subscription. It's a function of demand and supply. How many people apply to this university? How many people apply to University A or University B? These are factors that come into play. So in the final analysis, you see that, okay, a candidate that has scored 315 and wants to read medicine is not admitted. Maybe a candidate that has scored 180 who may just want to read physics education or physics as a single honor, he will be admitted. So is who gets admission.
So if I'm getting you correctly, it doesn't matter what your score is, because there's the idea that to get into some of the basics to get into the tertiary institutions would be 200 and above. And so for many people who score below 200 is okay, how do we get into the university? So what would be your opinion about this? What is what is available to people who score below 200, for instance? Some people who score 150, 180.
You see, there is no country in the world where the university education, the universities rank on the same level. If you go to US today, you have Harvard in US, within the precinct of Harvard, you have other universities whose requirement is not up to Harvard. You go to UK, you have Cambridge, you have Yale in US, and all those things. Within those universities, there are other universities whose requirements are not as different as those Harvard or Cambridge or Yale or some of the Ivy League universities. So requirement differs. University defines their own criteria, their own standards. Today, there is no universally accepted entry requirement for any of these things. What I'm saying is that yes, it matters, but depending on where you are applying to. If I want to go to University of Lagos, yes, I must aim high. If I want to go to University of Ibadan, I must aim high. If I want to go to APU, I must aim high. So on and on and on. But for instance, if I want to go to Zamfara State University, how many people apply to Zamfara State University? Because of so many factors, security issues and so on. So you cannot expect the competition in Zamfara State University to be the same thing with competition in Lagos. And you cannot at the same time impose the same requirement that University of Lagos will want to have with University of Zamfara State University. For instance, University of Lagos, if you don't have up to 200, certainly you're not even going to be considered. You will not even compete as fair for any space. The same for University of Ibadan, University of Nigeria, and Soka and stuff like that. So these are the various requirements. So it depends. Yes, what you score matters depending on where you want to go to.
Okay, we have a short commercial coming, but before we hit that commercial, we also saw from the stats that about over 60,000 results are under investigation. By under investigation, what does this mean?
Well, these are cases that we have not clearly established prima facie against them, whether malpractice or anything. There are cases of unverified by verification failure. There are cases of center-based investigations. There are other cases that we are looking at it that this candidate, there must be something that happened and all this. And don't forget that we've installed devices even at the center. We have CCTV cameras and other things that we're monitoring the center remotely from our headquarters in Abuja. There are also candidates who claim that they were there present and then they were unable to be verified. The first thing that comes to any examiner is that once a candidate fails the screening exercise to gain access to the center, the first suspicion is that it could be an impersonator. So we're also looking at those cases. There are some of them that at the end of the day, if we cannot establish any clear case of malpractice, those results will be released. Some of them may likely be rescheduled to go and write examination again. So these are various. There are about 4 or 5 categories of the ABC up to D categories that we're considering that falls within the 64,000 candidates.
And then the issue of malpractice during these exams, how well did the board tackle that problem? We know that it has been something that you've been applying technology and different means to try to address. And in fact, even before the exams, there were issues with some people not agreeing with the methods you're applying, saying it could disenfranchise certain candidates. So how well did your strategy work this time to tackle malpractice?
Well, if you look at the number of candidates that we have established clear case of misconduct, you will see that it has dropped over the years. Because what the 2024 exercise, out of the 1.9 million candidates that were present and started the examination, only 78 are involved in examination misconduct. So that is a sharp reduction from what we used to have before. There was a time that we were having figures running into hundreds of thousands and stuff like that. So if you examine 1.9 million, that's about 2 million candidates, and you're only having 78 clear cases of examination misconduct, then you must have done something that is very unique, something that is outstanding that will actually prevent this candidate from there. You know, we've always maintained that examination misconduct starts from registration. And if you look at the way we do our things, we give much emphasis to registration, even much more than even the conduct of the examination is, because once you get it wrong at the point of registration, there is nothing you will do again at the point of examination. So we put all our technology, all our features, our monitoring features at the point of registration to ensure that, because with the advent of CBT Center, a lot of ways, loopholes that candidates were using to cheat during examination were blocked. The only thing that is more pronounced now is issue of impersonation and related infractions. So, and our technology through the stage of registration takes care of most of those things. That explains why you see that there's a sharp drop in the number that are actually involved in examination misconduct.
We'll take a commercial now. When we come back, we also found out that over 80,000 candidates were absent, hence did not write the exams. What could be responsible for that and more would make the conversation. So just stay on the line for us for a very short commercial. We would also be taking questions from the listener. We'll be back.
Nigeria Info will be right back.
JAMB, Mr. Fabian Benjamin, with us on the show this morning. And of course, the focus is on the recent JAMB results. You've quite familiar with the stats, and we've been putting out bits and bits of it. For some parts of the stats that you've not been aware of, we've been trying to bring your knowledge up to speed. We found that about 80,000 students were absent, and that's where we'll be diving into shortly to hear from my guest, because prior to the exams, there were issues with the registrations. People were needing to travel to certain, centers to make sure that they register. And then all of those processes had a lot of people complaining before time that they could be disenfranchised. Could that be why we have that high number of people absent? Well, there's also economic reasons, don't forget. I mean, looking at what the situation of the country is, those that perhaps where they need to go write the exams might not have the resources to go there or to even get accommodation. So many other factors could be in play. Well, my guest will tell us what he thinks. In the meantime, if you have questions and contributions you want to make, the WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416. Let us know what you think could be responsible for the poor performance. A lot of our 70% couldn't score up to 200, but my guest has also clarified that it does not mean the end, because it's not an exam per se, it's a selection process. So there's still other things that you can do with the scores that you have, other institutions that you can go to. It doesn't mean that it's the end. And he also said something quite striking, that this performance we are seeing as bad is even better compared to what we had last year and the year before, and even in 2021. So you begin to question, okay, if we are looking at this improvement as bad, then you can only imagine what the results in 2021 could have been like if put in percentage. I'll get back to my guest now quickly so we get his response. Mr. Benjamin, thank you for staying on the line for us.
You're welcome.
All right, so quickly, before we open the phone lines and take response and questions from the callers, I was pointing out the fact that the stats also revealed candidates absent running to about 80,000. Is that a concern for JAMB, that a lot of people who must have intended to take these exams at the end of the day couldn't for one reason or the other? If you have those stats, were you able to pinpoint why most of those people were not able to sit for the exams?
Well, the examination is the candidate have the choice to sit for the examination. It is considered that he or she may have had a change of mind and decided that, look, I'm not taking this examination again. Because even when you do recruitment exercise, you are certainly going to have some people that will decide that, look, I'm not going again for one reason or the other. I may not be in the position to begin to know why they are not there. But it's not the issue of disenfranchising anybody. You don't think the process of registration could have contributed? Because if you remember, we had a conversation sometime during the build-up to the exams, and a lot of people... When you talk about absence, the process of registration is no longer involved because the person must have registered. We're not talking about people absent because they could not register. They are absent as part of the number that have registered. So the issue of registration is not there. Okay. These are candidates that have successfully registered. These are candidates that were successfully scheduled for this exam and failed to appear at the point of the examination. Some of them actually came, but came after the examination. So there are so many issues that one could actually, if you want to look at. But the bottom line is that once you register for an exercise and decide not to present yourself, it is taken that you've had a change of mind and not willing to do, and who cannot force you on the examination. All right, one quick one before we open the phone lines. Does JAMB put into consideration the location of candidates and try to ensure that they are assigned to the closest possible centers? Because there are some people I spoke with who, the center that they would have to go to take the exams would require them to spend a lot. They would even have to think about monies for accommodation because they might have to go sleep there, and then etc. And for some people, it becomes really difficult to afford this. So how does the board look at assigning candidates to different centers for the exams? For the 2024 exercise, we had 777 centers that we used across the federation, and these centers are cluster in towns. We call them examination towns, and each town is a limited number of centers, and candidates have the right to choose whichever towns they want to sit the examination. The only thing that JAMB does is to allocate centers to them, and these centers are within the town. So it is not for us, it is for the candidate to look at where he wants to sit, where he is, and where he wants to sit the examination. For instance, I'm not too familiar with Lagos, but if you are in Abuja, you have a center in Garki. And if you know what Garki is, it's an area that you can navigate within a space of 5-10 minutes. You are anywhere within Garki. So like that is how we group this examination time. The only thing we don't allow candidates to do is to pick the center they want to sit the examination for obvious reasons. But these candidates are free to choose their examination town where they want to sit this examination.
All right, well said. Let's open the phone lines now and give the listener an opportunity to ask a few questions. The numbers to call are 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. There's a question we'd also be asking you, and it's a general question we're asking to the listener as well. What could be responsible for the poor performance of students in the just concluded JAMB exams? I mean, you had said that what we are seeing now is even better than what it was in 2021, 2022, 2023. It's an improvement, but for many Nigerians, this is a no-no. And I think for the older generation, it's going to be looking at their time comparing to what we're seeing now. And a lot of people would have different reasons and opinions as to why it is the way it is, even though you have just said that what we're seeing now and considering as bad is way better. We're going to also come back to that, but just have that at the back of your mind. Would need your response on that particular question. In the meantime, on Facebook, Onyekachi Ayaele says, you want the address for Rima office? Okay, Onyekachi, I'll get that across to you after now. Emil Kamonde says the percentage of over 70% who score below 200 is poor from our children, but the students who scored above 200 and 300 may even perform badly during their tertiary studies, and those who scored 200 or below may even perform better. For me, I observe that too much focus on social media activities might be involved in the poor performance of the children. Mohammed Bula Ongwangi says the students of now are no longer serious. They engage themselves in watching series, films, reality shows, etc. Also, Francis says is watching from Enugu State. Good morning, he says. Okay, keep up the good work. Thank you, Francis. This one on WhatsApp from John Bull says, please ask your guest if JAMB is truly the sole agency responsible for admission into universities in the country. If not, why are universities conducting their own aptitude test, irrespective of whatever a candidate scores during JAMB? Yes, so yes, I'll repeat the question. He says, why are universities still conducting aptitude tests? Is JAMB the sole agency responsible for admission into Nigerian universities? Yes, I would want you to just respond to that, yes, quickly, before we take the call.
Well, you see, if you look at the laws that establish the tertiary institution, the Senate of Universities, the Councils of Colleges of Education and Polytechnics, they are empowered to have an input into who comes to their institution. And if you look at the act that established them, you say admission in conjunction with this tertiary institution. So there is no way you would just push select candidates and then suitable qualified candidates and then push them to the universities without the university having an input. But if you follow trend of recent, you will see that even the universities, some of them, because of the confidence they have in the process, our process, and what we do, don't even conduct the position yet. Some of them that even do it, what they do is just screening. They screen their credentials and all those things. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that yes, the university, the polytechnic and colleges of education must have a say in who comes to them. So there is nothing wrong in them conducting position. It's just a second layer of screening to see that okay, this candidate who claims that he has this actually is fit in other areas to be in the institution.
All right.
Don't forget, even at the point of graduation, it is said that such a person is working and learning. So there are so many components that makes up an individual that we can say, okay, this person is a product of a particular institution.
All right, then let's go to the phone lines. Braid is calling from Iligbam. Braid will be taking your call now. Remember, you can also dial the number 0817-923-0007 or 0817-923-0003. Braid, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
You're welcome.
My name is Chief Comrade. I am Braid.
Go ahead.
Yes, my take to the JAMB is that JAMB is not really doing to help this country. When you talk about JAMB today, how could a JAMB score a candidate 20%? And that is very, very bad. The exam markers are not really doing well. I fault the exam markers. And also, we are into post-UMT. Tell me, how many of our government schools today in Nigeria that has computer at their various schools? How many of the secondary schools that is teaching our children concerning computer practical? Before we go into some certain things, we should be able to start from the grass, from the root, before we get to the top. You don't just start from the top and come down. That is very, very bad. That is what is affecting the students.
All right.
Most of the secondary school does not have computer. And when you talk about post-UMT, children are going into computer, operating computer, and look at the timing. Look at the timing, so short, for almost about 100 questions. How could the children meet up? The JAMB is there to frustrate the children so that they will have more candidates at the next registration. That is what is going on in our nation.
All right, Braid.
But JAMB is not a money-making machine to this country. We have seen where crocodiles swallow money in JAMB. What are they going to tell us?
All right, Braid.
They are fraudulent.
Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure my guest will respond. We'll take more calls first. Robin from Echie, good morning.
Good morning, Fabian Andrew.
Welcome.
And greeting to our guest, the spokesperson of JAMB. If it's an investigation, I would have adopted his statement. The spokesperson of JAMB clearly told us here now that the qualification for admission of our children or the students into university is not how many score you record in JAMB exam. Whether you score 400, 300, for something, if you don't have the minimal requirements as provided in Nigerian Constitution, which is those 5 credits, including English and mathematics, you will not be admitted in any university in Nigeria. Therefore, for me, the existence of JAMB is a root, no need for them to exist. Because what JAMB does to Nigerian students and parents is to give them mental torture, financial torture. If a student will score 400, that student does not have the minimum of 200. 5 credits. Is there any need going through the JAMB process? Why don't they allow the universities to decide who they want to admit into their schools? This is my position, Robin Maja, the farmer.
All right, Robin, thank you very much. I'm sure my guest is taking note of those questions, and he would be responding accordingly. The numbers to call are 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0002. Remember, we are speaking with the spokesperson of JAMB, Mr. Fabian Benjamin, this morning. Alozie from Omuma, good morning.
Good morning, you hear me?
Good morning, Alozie.
You hear me? I take an exception to what the spokesperson of JAMB is saying this morning. That the poor performance over 80-something percent, he said it's better than the one of last year, 2021, even 2020. For me, I am among Nigerians who have advocated that JAMB should be scrapped. Because in a situation where students score 300 200 or 200 and something and went for constituent exam at any of the university and he was not able to get the cut-off point of the university will deny that person admission. Now the question is, to what extent is JAMB? This is not the final criteria to get admission. Finally, if you hear me, the timing, because my junior brother went to write this exam, the timing at the JAMB exam, the thing was too fast according to what the boy said. And the question they said, I don't even know how to describe the question they said. And I put it to the JAMB, spokesperson of the JAMB. If the question that was given to this guy is given to him, he will not even score to 100. We are suffering ourselves in Nigeria. JAMB should be scarce.
All right, Alose, thank you. Zion in GRA, good morning.
Thank you very much, Andre Fiemi. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Number one question, ask the JAMB spokesman, is it true that some part of the country, Nigeria, you can score 100 and get admission, and some parts, if you like score 100, nothing for you to score 200? Ask him that question, number one, if it is true. Number two, sir, can you also ask the JAMB spokesperson, year 2023, can he tell us the total number of JAMB forms that were sold and how much JAMB made? Number three question, sir, ask the man in the studio, your guests, the JAMB we are talking about, does JAMB provide computers to schools for them?
All right, Zion, apologies. I think you got interrupted there, but I'm sure my guest noted your questions, 3 of them, and I understand what the last one was about. I think provide computers. I think he had touched about how these things work, but I would let him respond after this call. Barry D from OGRA, good morning.
Barry D. Giadom.
Barry D. Giadom, go on.
Yes, good morning.
You're welcome.
I have some couple of questions for the JAMB spokesman. Well, an exam that is CBT based, why can't participants know their result as soon as they finish and submit? Why will they have to wait for results to be announced by JAMB after a certain period of time? So far I'm concerned, JAMB has manipulated this year's results. Thank you very much.
All right, Barry D. Giadom. Thank you very much. There's still plenty of calls to take. All right, I think we have enough time to take one more, and then my guest will be responding to some of the questions you already have asked, some of the messages on WhatsApp. This one says, if JAMB can make the choice of university more flexible, it will help those with lower scores to opt for favorable and alternative universities. I think my guest already adds, in comparison to the University of Lagos and the University of Port Harcourt or University of Enugu State University and the rest of them. But the question he asked was, how many people would want to go to Zamfara University? So that's also another thing, because their demands might not be the same with that of University of Lagos. It might be easier to get in there. But would people want to go in there? Let's hear from Maxine in Port Harcourt Town. Good morning, Maxine.
Maxine.
Yes, go on.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
How are you?
Very fine, thank you. Go ahead, please, with your question or contribution.
What I want to ask, just like I think the caller before, the last caller just asked, in the north, there is a discriminatory JAMB score for northern candidates. It is only in the south where JAMB both exercise their power to make exams. In the north, if I have been there, you have 100, you enter school. But people that even know have 5 credits in the north enter their universities. I'm telling you what I saw. If you don't have, even those that don't have even 5 credits, they have 4 credits, Islamic studies, they enter their universities. That's what JAMB does to us. And you come here when you come to the south, it's only in the south, you must get around, they must get this. In the north, they don't check those things. To ask him. I know he will deny it, but it is true. It's not that experience.
All right, Maxine.
Thank you. You are here. Let me just give you an example. When the problem in the Chief Justice was on the seat, there was a time when his own certificate was established where he got Islamic studies, Islamic studies, not up to 5 credits. did he manage to get? How did he manage to get that position? How?
All right, Maxine, thank you very much. Let me get back to my guest to hear response to some of the questions you've asked. Mr. Benjamin, I'm sure you've been following and you've been taking notes, adequate notes. So let's start with the... Oh, goodness me. I think we'll try to reestablish contact with my guest so we get his response to some of your questions. We're going interrupted by the service provider. So we'll just try to call him again and get him to respond to some of these questions. In the meantime, I'll be touching on your messages on WhatsApp. And just to also inform you that this conversation will be taking a different shape on Hello Port Harcourt today. On Hello Port Harcourt, we are going to also be having a school administrator who would be joining us. And guess what? The conversation would have a lot to do with different perspective to this. We'll take a look at the use of screen time, smart devices by students, and how all of this could affect their academic performance. Some of us have already said some people cannot operate computers. The timing is very short, and many other questions that you've raised. If you want to find out details about all of these and what effect this could have had on the performance of students when Hello Port Harcourt coming after the news at 9, you would find some of those information there. So yeah, after now, there's still more. In the meantime, on WhatsApp, Thank God Ability says, good morning. JAMB has become become a hinder race to our children. Andrew, do you know how many people JAMB has denied going to school, and most of them have turned to something else in our communities? This person says, is the analysis of your guest, Mr. Fabian, his comparison of tertiary schools in Zamfara and Lagos is baseless. Rather, he has exposed the official approved dichotomy examination scores between North and the South. I don't think it's totally that way, because he also rightly says the laws that establish institutions gives every institution its Mr. Benjamin?
Yes.
All right, thank you. We got rudely interrupted. So yes, if you can respond to the questions.
Thank you very much. There are so many questions that they've asked. But the bottom line is that I just feel that a lot of misinformation out there. And people are not really patient to understand issues. They just jump into debates and arguments. For instance, somebody asking, we should tell Nigerians how much we've realized. Let me tell you that we have a publication we call JAMB Bulletin that we release every week. And in that publication, it carries our income and expenditure for every week. And I just told you that 1.9 million, 896,668 candidates sat registered for 2024 exercise. If you multiply that by 3,500, which is the registration fee, you will arrive at the figure that we've realized from whatever we've done. And if you if you go to our website, you will see our bulletin. You will see what we spend every week and all those things. So how we make use of this money, we open it to Nigerians to at least see what we are doing. Having said that, people are talking about if scoring high is no longer the yardstick, you should scrap that. Let me tell you, this JAMB that you see was established by the university. Government didn't establish JAMB. It was the university that came together that said, look, we are having a lot of challenges coordinating these admission processes. The 6 fourth generation university then came together because admission was beginning to grow from 100,000 to 200,000, and the number was increasing. And candidates could choose 2 or 3 universities, and then they would get admission in these 2 or 3 universities, depriving other candidates of securing these spaces. And they needed a body that could sit down, coordinate this process as it is done globally, and then just send them this candidate. Okay, this is your candidate, this is your various candidate. Even with that examination, the existence of JAMB, the reason why it was established was not even for examination. It was for coordination of admission and stuff like that. We are a regulatory body. We regulate the conduct of admission, not the conduct of examination. I told you earlier, I said examination is just a vehicle of selection because the number kept increasing. And then how do you select this candidate? Somebody is talking about scrapjar. Even scrapjar now, you have 1.something million. Only 1.something million will choose Abu Zaria. Only 1.something million will choose Unsuka. They say 1.something million will choose PUK. You will see the kind of the chaos that will be there. So we exist to connect this thing. But again, I tell you, besides all these things, for the benefit of national unity, the existence of JAMB has ensured that there is national unity
there's the question that favoritism for schools or students or Nigerians in the north. Yes.
There is no favoritism anywhere. All universities in Nigeria are classified according to their region and according to what we call catchment area. For instance, University of Nigeria and Nsukka has the whole of Nigeria as its catchment area. The same thing with University of Ibadan. Then if you go to some of these universities, for instance, you go to ABUs, the catchment area for ABUs is in 19 northern states. So besides that catchment, there's what we call merit. Merit, admission is done on percentages. There is 45% merit. And that 45% merit is blind. Anybody can get admission into ABU on merit. Once you score the merit, the highest 45 go there. The catchment area is allocated 20%. You understand? 35%. The educational law development study is allocated 20%, making 100%. There is no place that you say, okay, somebody in the north, you score, you have 2 credits and admitted. That is a fallacy. It is not true. It is misleading. It is from the pit of hell. These are kind of narration that people keep bringing to create chaos, to create disunity among Nigerians.
Right.
And all this.
And then quickly,
when we make serious comment like this, let us verify this comment so that we don't say things that people will begin to feel as if this is a position of this. In any case, when you talk about less advantaged states, we talk about affirmative action. There is no country in the world where admission or resources are not shared and a percentage is given for people that are not advantageous. Today, if you want to go to University of Cornell, even in Harvard, if Harvard admits today and they discover that there's no black person in Harvard, there's nobody from Africa, they will come to Africa to look for candidates that will come to Harvard. So for national unity, you give spaces for everybody so that you have that semblance. For somebody to say that it's only in the South that JAMB applies the Stephen all this, it is not true. It is not true, please.
All right, Mr. Fabian.
Verify this information. Our doors are open. Our processes are open. We have incorporated, we run what we call inclusive governance, where we bring people from all sectors, be it teachers, civil society, and what manner of people, so that they will see what we are doing. It's so that all these kind of misconceptions.
All right, Mr. Fabian.
Not,
Thank you very much for being with us on the show. We'll definitely continue to engage you from time to time to find out more about the board. In the meantime, have a great day yourself.
Thank you.
And that's it on the Morning Crossfire. But like I said, hello Port Harcourt, a different angle to this. A school administrator would be in the studio with Jude, and we'll be discussing more about how children could be affected with the technology that we apply.
Introducing NEM Health HMO.